So hi everyone, welcome back to the knowledge sessions. This time we are gonna learning something new, very emerging in a very short. We will be learning out this. So it's better to learn something means with along with each other so that we can learn something new and in a very easier way. So this time we will be learning something very amazing, which is a Scala 3.0, which is an upgraded version of Scala 2.0. So I am Kuldeepak Gupta, software consultant in Knowledge INC. So let's start the session. And before starting the session, let's discuss the knowledge etiquettes first, starting from the punctuality. So try to join the session 5 minutes prior to the session so that we can start and conclude the session on time, because we need to answer every question. That's why we need to end the session. We need to end the session on time as well. Then second one is put your phone or any of your device on the silence mode until unless you do have any question. If you have any question, ask me anytime. And apart from that, avoid the disturbance. And at last, make sure to submit your constructive feedback, because we need it in order to improve our session as well. So let's have a look of the today's agenda, in which we will be starting from the introduction to the Scala 3.0. Means we will be learning what actually is 3.0, why I'm saying 3.0, what does the 3.0 significant, and how it is different from the other Scala versions as well, which is the which is Scala 2.v. Means we can say 2.1, 2.2, any of the Scala version which you want to compare of. Then we will be discussing about the control structure. If I'm saying control structure, it means I'm starting from the basic fundamentals of the Scala 3.0, where I will start from the indentation itself and will take you to the advanced part of the Scala 3.0. The next one will be the type system improvements. Since there is a number of improvement, that's why I thought that I should talk about the Scala 3.0 on any of the Linux sessions. So there is a number of type system improvements that makes it easier to learn, makes the Scala more concise. So you can compare it with many of the programming languages, even from the modular Python or Java. So it is much concise comparing to any of the other programming language. Then I will be discussing the new type which have been introduced in Scala, and I'm pretty sure that you will feel good. That means you will get amazed and surprised as well. Means do this type can exist or not in any of the programming language. Then at last, the extension method, one of the best thing which you can use when it comes to the abstraction and the memory allocation as well. So this is the extension method. So let's start the session now. Why the Scala 3.0? Means if I'm taking the Scala 3.0, so let's start from the Scala. Scala means which is an scalable language, which Scala is a statically typed general purpose programming language. As we have all know, we are aware of the fact that why Scala is used in the industry at a high scale. There is a number of reasons, which starts from it is very high scalable, it is statically typed general purpose programming language, concise, and we can when it comes to fault tolerance and scalability, one of the best choice you can look around is Scala. It supports both object oriented programming and functional programming. And concisely, if I say that in Nodus we actually focus on both the types, which our main priorities. Our program should be highly functional and it should be object oriented. So Scala that's why Scala is one of our choice to work upon. So it support object oriented programming and functional programming. Then why Scala 3? Means I can say only Scala, and I can say that yes, there is a change, there is not a change, this is deprecated, this is new. No, if I'm saying Scala 3, that means there is something, but it doesn't mean that it's entire new. Means the Scala has been changed to Java or any of the programming language. Scala 3 is just a remodel, it's a refit, or a new version of the Scala language which we need to discuss out. So in this session, I'm not gonna take you to any of the theoretical part. I will take you directly to the demo and we will discuss together. If you do have any question, ask me anytime, because I will start this session from very, very, very basic. And if you do have any question, ask me anytime. I will try to give my best for your questions. So the first thing, which is the control structure. So is my IntelliJ visible to all?
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to the control structure, I think we have all gone through the flow diagram. So in flow diagrams, we actually try to make control structured. And when it comes to the programming language, when we try to implement the program in the flow diagrams in programming language, the first thing we should learn about is the indentation. So in this first part, we will be learning about the indentation changes which have been introduced in the Scala 3. So how actually we define a class when it comes to Scala? Forget about the Scala 3 for now. How we instantiate a class in other Scala, we generally try to write the class keyword, then the name, and then we use some curly braces over there. And inside it, we can, whatever we want to do, we do. Like we can define any of the methods, right? This is the older version. Now try to make it a bit better. Now in a Scala 3, you don't need to worry about the curly braces. There is a significant change when you use the curly braces in Scala, the older version, in the end, in the Scala 3.0 or the elder as well, means or the newer. So this is the new change which has been introduced in Scala 3.0. You don't need to worry about the curly braces. What you just need to worry about the indentation. Means when you create a class, make sure to have some white spaces, or you can use tab. Now it entirely depends on you. If you want to use white spaces or you want to use tab, it entirely depends on you. Scala doesn't bound to use any of them. So you can use any of the cases. So see, this is pretty easy. Don't need to worry about the curly braces. Now one might ask me that how can I recognize? So see, because we have a huge program in our module, so we use some modular programming. So actually we worry about then how can we can recognize that the class has been ended or not. This might be a question. So I will answer you in a very short. There is a very crisp answer for the same. So this is how you introduce a class. If you want to worry about it, is the class working or not? See, for the knowledge 2, in which I'm using the Scala 3 annotations, I'm instantiating the knowledge 2 as well here. So this is how you can work about the classes. Now, if let me tell you to the methods, then I will try to tell you how we can recognize that the class has been ended, since we are not using the curly braces anymore. See, this is an optional part. If you, and even in Scala 3, if you want to use curly braces, see, I'm using the Scala 3 here, so I am using the curly braces here, and it's an optional part. If you want to make it some modular look like it has been concise form, you can remove the entire curly braces from the programming. So this is how you can define a class here. Now then after class, what is the next step we try to make? Is we try to do some programming or using methods. So let's work on the method now. How to define in let's take Scala 3 apart, means skip for now. How you define a program, how do you define a method? You just use a keyword which is def, then your method name, a parameters if any, then the return type. This is how you try to do, right? So what I'm trying to do, I am just adding up the integers and returning the string part of the. If I'm returning 2, and if I'm asking the method do something and giving two values which is 2 and 3, and it will return a 5 as a string, right? What if I'm working on a Scala 3? I don't need to worry about the curly braces. Again, it's all about the indentation. What I have to do, I have to give the equal part, then I used to write whatever I want to do in the program. Now, what is the crunch in this? Say, for example, in a Scala 2, I believe we can do this right. What if I have a number of words in the programming language? See, this part has been grayed out, and everyone knows if IntelliJ, if any gray part has been grayed out, that means we are not using that part. Now, where is the output? From where I'm returning the string. See, after 2 lines, I'm returning a string, which is the look here, and this will be the return of this method. Now, how the compiler will know that what is the returning? So every last line which follows the indentation will be the return, will be the output of that method. Hope you guys are getting my point. If you have any doubt, ask me anytime. So see, the indentation is equal for this part and this part. Since this is the last statement of this method which follows the indentation rule of the Scala 3, that's why this will be the output. If I will remove that part, you can see that this has been, means the color of this part has been changed. Now this will be the output. So this is actually a crunch. So it doesn't matter how many lines you do have in your method. What you need to worry about it, the indentation should be proper. That's it. That is, you have to learn. In start, it might be difficult or tricky, but the time you start working on it, it would be easier. Now the question will remain the same. That is for the class. This will be for the method as well. How would we recognize that the method or the class has been ended? Simple. Use AND keyword. See, this is the one. So when I write and do something, that means the method has been ended here. See, I'm not using the curly braces. Now I can recognize the method has been ended. Once you click on the def, you can, the end part will be highlighted and you can see that the method has been ended here. Again, the thing which you need to know, which you need. Okay, so is my voice, am I audible properly now?
You are audible, but there are slight disturbances.
Is it fine now?
Are you moving the
Slight
laptop or
disturbance is
anything?
there, Kuldeep.
Yeah.
Okay, let me now.
Better. Better.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Palak, for pointing out. So this is how you can end a method, and you can do the same for the class as well. If you want to end a class, just you need to type and end the class name, which is the knowledge2. Knowledge2. Seems there is some indentation. Need to look around it. See, this is for the method. First, I need to end the method, then I can end the knowledge session as well. So, yes, this will be working, but you need to define the method definition for that part. So this is how you can end the method. See, if you want to check where the method has been ended, just need to click on the def, and the highlighted part will let you know where the method has been ended. So this is all about the methods in Scala 3. Now, about the control structure. In Scala, we basically use two type of control structure to follow the best practices. First one is if, and second one is for loop. So I will, for expression actually, so I will let you know how actually they work. So in Scala 3 point, not 3, let's take it 2. So how we define a number? We define a number like number 1, number 2, and for the encapsulation abstraction, we use like keywords like private, public. So how we define a if else? So what we try to do, we just write as if, then the expression, if it is true, then this will get executed, else this will get executed. What this is? This is a single line expression. Means if you don't have much compact or complex problem with if else, you just do it in a single line, right? Similarly, you can do this similarly, you can do the same in this way as well. Means if you just need to write if, then the condition, you can use curly braces to ensure that whatever we, the part which you need to execute under the if statement, you write here, then the else part. This is how actually, this is the same way you does in Java as well, right? Now in Scala 3.0, there are two types, or there are three types you can do the same. Again, this is the linear one, and this is applicable in Scala 2 as well. But the change which you can see in Scala 3 is using the indentation. Even if you have a number of line, don't need to worry about it. You just need to type enter, and you can see there's I can't see the error over there. If it is Scala 2, we can see the error that the else part is missing. That means the implementation of else part is missing. So this is the change in Scala 3. Means just because of the indentation, I can ensure that whatever be the complex part of which I need to execute in the else part, I don't need to worry about the braces. I just need to worry about the indentation. And even the IntelliJ is much smarter, that if you are hit enter, it will give you that indentation part with you. So this is the first way. And the second way, which actually drives me crazy, is like you can do this part. What you need to do is you need to type if, then the condition, then use a keyword, which is then your result, else, then result. Means you just need to use a keyword, then you can do whatever you want. Now I can't, if I don't want to use then, it will work. Then what is the use of then? Why should I use then? The reason is this: even if I remove this braces, my code will execute, and I will get the type of verification as Boolean. See, I'm not using any of the braces. I'm just telling that if the number 1 is equals to 2, then it should be true. If number 1 is not equals to 2, then it should be false. So this is how you work with the braces in if part. Means in if else expressions. Now for expressions, so the general way, let's say I have two lists. First one is of integer, second one is of character. So when you use for expression, what you does is you define a for, then you curly braces, then this is the same syntax which you use for Scala 2, 2 point something. It might be 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and then the yield part. But again, I don't want to use curly braces. I'm just want to use the indentation. This is the beauty of Scala 3. I just need to remove the curly braces. Just your implementation, make sure that you have proper indentation. If you want to make it one only, it will work for you. Just you need to mention that you are maintaining that indentation. So this is all about the control structured in Scala 3. The next one is the type system improvement. Then now, what is the type system improvement? Let me take you to the demo, and then you will get it in a proper way. Okay, so in Scala 2, we have two options when it comes to the enumeration. First one is using the seal trait. I think everyone is using. Second one is enumeration. So how typically does is you typically define an object which extends the enumeration, then you define a value, and then you get all the values which you need to want. You just define there using a val and the value. I think this is the way everyone knows, but I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to use any of the object. I don't want to deal with the type and the value. The best in Scala 3 is just use keyword enum, then the enum type you want to define and all the cases which you want to use. This is exactly the same for this one. There is no difference. The difference is this is concise and the compiler knows that what does this mean. I think this is good enough. I don't need to mess about creating a new object or anything. I just need to create my own enum, which is known to be my enum type. Then I can define all my cases here. Now, what if I do have my enum type with parameter? Yes, you can do. You can define your own enum type using some parameters as well. So the syntax will remain the same. What you need to do is you just need to type enum, the type of the enum type, and the parameters. Say, for example, I'm considering the type as a string, and then your case, which is the message, which will extend the parameter type and then the parameters. Now, how will you deal about it? Just let's say I want to get messages from my parameter type. So what I need to do is my param type dot my message, then you can pass the message here, right? Whatever is the message, or another type. Okay, my param type, this is the one. Okay, dot message. Okay, then what it will do, it will take you this message part and you will get this start working. If you want to print it, you can get the message. But what if I want to do something more? I just want to print all the possible values of the param type. Then what you need to do is, let's say for I just want to do it for my enum type. Then what you need to do is my enum type dot values. Then you will get all the possible values which have been defined in this this enum, my enum type. But this will be a array. But if you want to print, you just need to change it to list, and you will get all the possible values which have been defined in the my enum type. Let's print it now. Let's see what's the output. So if I try to run it, okay, see, I'm getting the entire list that for the my enum type, I do have a start, I do have a stop, I do have continue. So this is all about the print this is all about the enum. And one more thing which you need to know is, if you need to check whether a particular type is available in your enum or not, then what you need to do is just need to type my enum type dot value of and the name which you want to check with. I just want to check whether the start is a type or not, and for similarly I just want to check if the capital start is there or not. So if let me run it, I need to use println again. Okay, let me run it. For the start, I should get start from here, but for the start, capital start, I should get an error. So let's run it and see what is happening. See, for the small start, I'm getting start because start was a type of enum, right? That's why I'm getting the proper output. But when it comes to my enum, I'm getting an error because this start was never defined in my enum. So this is how you deal with the enum type. I hope you guys are getting my point. And even if you want to access this part, you just need to define well, then you can access that parameter as well. Say for example, for now, I just want to access the param type. I think everyone knows it. We are using in case class, so I don't need to define it again. Let me define for now. Dot C. I'm getting this message, but when it comes to this parameter, I'm not able to access this parameter. But if I want to access this parameter, just need to use val, and then I can use message dot param, right? This is the way. If you will remove this val, you will getting an error there because the param was not authorized to get connected with message. So if you want to use that param as well, you just need to define val, and you can use the param as well here. So this is all about the enums in Scala 3. Now something new has been introduced in Scala 3, which is known to be the opaque. I think opaque, everyone knows when I try to correlate it with transparency, right? Something that is not visible. Now, what does this mean in Scala? Okay, let me tell you. We actually try to define our own methods, mean types using this annotation. Like if I want to define my own type, I'm just using type session means the keyword which I want to highlight and the type which is associated with it. So anytime if I'm writing like, well, name, which is the type of session, is equals to name. So what does this mean? This means that the name of type session, and session is again a string, so I can define a string here. So this is something which everyone knows. But what if I want to give a session secret code which actually is a secret and nobody can access that type? So what I can do is I can use an opaque keyword. Right now, what actually is the opaque keyword? I think if anyone of you have talked about the opaque, if anyone want to speak about opaque, you can, or else I should tell you about it. So what? Okay, let me tell you. What does this opaque mean? Actually, it means the type session secret code is a standalone in itself. Means you can consider it as a trait or class. What does this mean? So if I comment this part and I just want to access this, just like for the session, if I want to access the session secret code using a variable, let's say secret of type session secret code, and this is the code. Now if I'm on the same, okay, I'm on the same page, I need to get out from this object. Now let me try to use this. Now you will be getting an error since you cannot use the opaque outside the scope. So this is all about the opaque. Means if you know annotate any of your type with a keyword opaque, that means it has been standalone in itself and you cannot use that type outside the scope. So this is what is happening with the session secret code. But what if I just want to ensure that I'm using and I want to use this session secret code? So there are two ways. First one is pretty easy, that make a companion object just like we does in Scala. Means for the normal classes you just need to create means the knowledge, and you can get the data from the here. But this is something I don't want to use. This is I just need to create an session, and then the type of this will be okay. Okay, so this is all about you can do using a companion object, but I don't want to worry about it. Let's do something new. Another feature which has been introduced in Scala 3 is extension. What extension does? It actually extend any of the variable, any of the type, any of the method which you want to. What I'm trying to do is I'm extending my session secret code using a variable which is extension, and in that what I'm trying to do is I'm just getting the length and just sending the entire knowledge as well. What I'm trying to do is I just extend the session secret code and define my own method, and using that method I can access this opaque type which is session secret code. For example, let me do this again. So if I want to, okay, so if I want to do this, I think I'm already doing here. So this that type should be extension secret code. Then what I need to do is okay, dot length. It should work. What is the problem here? It should be string and okay, this is referring to here. I need to define. So this is referring to here. For now I just need to rename the method. Then you can do the same. I need to do this for now. Length 1, then length 1. Now this should get imported. This should get imported, and then in the same in that way we can use this extension method, and this is how you can access the session secret code. This is something means there is something with the scope. I need to check it when, and we'll show you again that part as well. So let's skip that for now. I think there's some okay, session, and did I miss something here? Okay, we'll show you again in the session. So this is all about the extension. Don't worry, we have another slide for the extension, so we will be using the same again. So this is all. Comes the new types which have been introduced in Scala 3. So let's discuss them again. So when it comes to new type, what you generally does is you define a number. If it is integer, you just need to define well number 1 equals to 1, and if you go to the type annotation, you will see that it is of type int, right? Similarly for the string, similarly for the boolean. What if I just want to define my own type? Say for example, if I want to make 1 as my type, see, okay, so this is how, okay, skip for this. Now let me tell you how this works. Let me try to make a method. So what I'm trying to make a method which is get a string which actually accept a number which is of integer, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to simply make the number, trying to convert it to string. But what if I don't want to make it for all numbers? I just want to make it very generic. This is how the part which I'm trying to tell comes in. You can make your own types. Say for example, if I just want to ensure that my number should only be 1, I don't need to worry about the entire number. So what actually it means, I'm just ensuring, I'm just telling the compiler that the number should only be 1. So this is how your program can be generic out. So this is something which is not available, which is not provided in the older version of Scala. This has been introduced in Scala. So if I want to access that method, I just call this method get string again, and if I want to pass 2, this will give me an error. What if I can pass only 1? This will allow me out. This is something, means if we want to make it another way, if we want to make this function, if you want to make similar function in Scala 2, what you need to do is you will be getting that numbers and you will be comparing it out. If the number is equals to 1, then do this, or else return an error. But I don't want to mess it up. I just want to ensure that I'm only accepting a number 1. I don't want to mess with other numbers. So I'm just defining, I just counting that my parameter should only be 1. So this is how you can work with the new types in Scala. So I hope you're getting my point. So this is something you can use at a high scale. The next one is the union type. So every time when when I try to make a method, then I try to make it for a string, but later on I came to know it I should make it for integer as well. But the next time I thought that it should be for list as well. So this is something where you get messed up, and at last what you does is you use a keyword which is of type any, like well as of type any, and whatever you want to make it, you do it here. But this is not a good practice. Ultimately you're getting more space, you are occupying more space, and at the end of the day your program is all about the optimization which you are using in the program. So this is not the best practice. So what if I should tell you there is a way that you can bound your parameter only of 2 types, or the types which you want to make it specific out. Say for example, if I want to make my system, if I want to make the program that it only accept string, yes you can. If you want to make that your method should accept string as well as integer, means it's an optional part. If you want to make it string, if you want to make it integer, or any of the method, if you want to make it for list, you can go ahead and make it. But for now I'm just considering I only want string and int. Now how to deal with it? Now the simple best practices which we are following, again, see, I'm not using of the curly braces, I'm just working on the indentation, which I've told you in my first slide. This is all about the indentation. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to compare my parameters. Yes, something match. If it is a string, then I'm doing this. If it's integer, then I'm doing this. You can make an alternative part. You can use any wildcard here, and you can do any of the thing here which you want to. Okay, this is something which we don't need to worry about. We just worry about the 2 cases which we are accepting. If we are getting a string, we are getting integer. This is all about the union types which have been introduced in Scala, but not for only the methods. You can use them in the variable as well. Say for example, if I'm removing this annotation for now, what I'm trying to say is if 2 is greater than 3, then it should return false. If else, if the 2 is not greater than 3, it should return try again. But if let's forget Scala 3 for now. The type annotation, if I do the type annotation, it should give me any, because we are using 2 types here. First one is the boolean, second one is the string. But if you want to make a type specific, if you want to save your memory, if you want to make your program optimized, what you can do is you can let the system know that it would be either string or boolean. Easy. I think you guys are getting a point. This is what have been introduced in Scala, and it's pretty easier. Instead of I think let me try again. Let me do this by the help of compiler. If I do the type annotation, see, it's returning any. And I believe many of you are using Scala in your projects, and you have been told that you should not use any unless you are on the earth that you don't have any option, right? So this is something you can use this part. So this is all about the union. Similarly, because we don't have enough time, you can use the intersection part as well. So you can use for the intersection as well, intersection types. Type intersection, let me give you a hint. It's your homework you need to do. What you need to do is you can create two traits. Let me give here, you need to create two or three or n number of traits and call them in a method, call them in a method or instantiate them and use this symbol. Then see what happens and tell me. Means you can reach out to me anytime and tell me, yes, this is something which is pretty easy and pretty simple. So you can try this one. I don't want to show in this session because we are getting out of time in a very short. So this is something which you can try for the intersection type. Create n number of traits and call them in a method or instantiate them. Just like I can't show them in this session, but I will show later on. So this is all about the intersections as well. So there is a number of types which have been introduced or they have been modified, but the thing is how you recognize them, how you use them, how you make your program more optimized. So this is all about the new types. Then coming to the next, which is the extension method. As I told you that I will tell you about the extension method in the later slides. So here is that one. Now what happens is, let's say I am using a library and there is some number of methods and I don't want to access those methods. I just want, means I cannot recreate those methods, or I cannot, change those methods, the definition of those methods. Now what is the solution? Then there should be something that we can, either we can change the method type, which is not easy, means we cannot change the method definition, or we can extend the method definition. Means we can extend the method definition in the way which we want to do. So this is where the extension comes in. So let's consider the scenario. Let's say, for example, if I have the case class of which is named to be the knowledge, and I'm accepting a parameter name, and then I've defined my own method under the case class. Again, case class is a special type of class. So I've defined my points that if you're attending the session of knowledge, then you will get 10 points. Right now, if let me comment that part for now. Okay, or let me comment this one. Let me comment this one. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm just try to create my own knowledge session. I'm just passing the my session name, but if what if I just want to get those points, I'm getting an error that I cannot access that point. Now what is the way? Because I don't want to instantiate that class, but because once you instantiate that class, you're occupying some space. I don't want to instantiate. There should be something. Yes, there is a possible solution. First one is again implicit. I think in Scala we have a huge scope for implicit. We use implicit at very high scale. So what you can do is you can create your own class which is of implicit, and you can define the same method and do the same whatever we are doing here. You can define the get points, and this is the way you can get the points from the knowledge. Means you can call the knowledge case class and get the points. Now I don't want to mess with implicit class, because ultimately if I don't want to instantiate the knowledge using new keyword, so the class, the implicit does the same. I don't want to mess it up. Let's find another alternative. And what would be? Using the extension. Now what extension does is, as I told you, that it extends the definition, or it creates actually a chain. In simple terms, what you can think is it creates a chain, and through that chain you can link some methods or the functions together in a single one. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm creating an extension which accepts a string, and what it does inside that one, I'm creating a method which is of get points, and what it does is it internally goes to the knowledge and get the points over there. So this is something what I'm doing here, because I was not doing it directly, right? When I try to do it directly, I was getting an error here, right? But you can do this using the extension keyword. What I'm trying to do, again, I'm just repeating my words. I'm just creating the knowledge, giving the points, and ultimate means passing the name of the knowledge and just getting the points. So this is how extension works. Now see, this is what I'm trying to say you. Just you can pass the method of the knowledge. You don't need to worry about the knowledge as well. You just need to call the extension and you can get the points. So this is how you can work with the extension. See, I'm not calling any class, I'm not calling any case class, I'm not calling any of the implicit class. What I'm trying to do is I'm just passing the name and getting the points. This is the beauty of the extension. You don't need to worry about any of the class and the instantiation. Similarly, you not only for the single method, if you have a number of method, if you want to work with them, if you want to extend, if you want to call them indirectly, if you don't need to, if you don't want to mess with the class or instantiation of the class, just use the extension, define all your types, define all your functionalities on which you want to work upon, and it's pretty easy. So this was all about the extension. So till now what we have covered is we started from the control structure, where we talk about the indentation, the basic for loop, for expression, or the if else loop, and then we talk about the classes, the methods, the indentation which we should follow over there. Then we come to the type system which has been improved, then the new type which has been introduced, and the extension at last. But how you can create a SBT using the Scala 3.2. So earlierly, I was seeing people worrying about that we were using some .t and we need to configure the .t in your system. We don't need to do anything. We just need to do new project, and what you need to do is give your name, whatever you want to, and just set the Scala version to 3.12 or 3.13. For now, I'm using the 3.12 as it is the latest one and stable as well. And still, there is a number of features which will be added later on in the Scala repositories, in the Scala libraries. But for now, you can use 3.13 and 3.12, even 3.11, and can use the optimization at its best. Means you can do whatever you want. You can define your own types, make it the program as generic as you can, and you don't need to worry about the indentation, and this time your program will be highly concise. So this was all about the session, and this is how you can create. So just need to click on the create, and your the project will be ready. And if you go to the build.sbt, you can see that we are using the Scala 3.1.2. So this was all about the session, where we have covered a number of things, and I hope you enjoyed this session. And there is an update, means in a very short we will be back with some other sessions as well, where we will be going a bit depth into the Scala 3 as well, and we'll be creating a small project as well togetherly. So this was all about the session. Thanks everyone.